It was just past midnight. The street was quiet, dark, and still. Only the sound of distant traffic and barking dogs could be heard. Inside a small apartment on the corner of Maple Street, a woman named Jada Williams was sleeping peacefully. Her apartment was neat, clean, and simple. Books were stacked near the bed. A teacup sat on the table, untouched. Suddenly, bang, bang, bang. Loud knocks shook the front door like thunder. Jada jumped up, heart racing. "Open up! Police!" a voice shouted. She looked through the peephole. 3 police officers stood outside. One of them had his hand on his gun. Another was holding a flashlight, shaking with impatience. Jada slowly opened the door. "What's going on?" Without answering, the officers rushed in, searched the place. One of them barked. They pushed past her roughly. One officer knocked over her lamp. Another opened drawers and dumped clothes on the floor. The third one flipped the couch cushions. Jada stood quietly, watching them. "Where's the stuff?" one of them asked. "What stuff?" she replied, confused. The lead officer, a bald man with sharp eyes named Officer Klein, stepped closer. "Don't play games. We know you're hiding something." Jada remained calm. "You're in the wrong apartment." But they didn't listen. Another officer, younger and nervous, looked uncomfortable. His name was Officer Reed. He held back from speaking. Meanwhile, Officer Daniels, a heavy man with a cruel grin, opened the bathroom cabinet. "No drugs here," he muttered. Officer Klein turned back to Jada. "You're coming with us." Jada's eyes didn't show fear. "Do you have a warrant?" Klein didn't answer. He just grabbed her arm. She didn't resist. She simply said, "I've done nothing wrong." As they pulled her out, neighbors peeked through their windows. Whispers began. An innocent black woman, dragged away in the middle of the night. Back in the apartment, Jada's door stood wide open. Her life, her peace, had just been torn apart. At the police station, they placed her in a cold, empty holding cell. No charges. No lawyer. No one explained anything. Hours passed. The sun began to rise. Still, she said nothing. In the hallway, Officer Reed walked beside Officer Daniels. "Something feels off," Reed said quietly. "We didn't find anything." Daniels smirked. "Doesn't matter. She looks the part. She'll break soon." Reed frowned. "What if she's innocent?" Daniels leaned in. "Then she'll learn what it's like to be in our system." Back in the cell, Jada sat with perfect posture, calm, silent. She looked at the wall, deep in thought. Suddenly, a female officer entered with breakfast. She glanced at Jada and paused. "You're really calm," she said. Jada nodded. "Panicking never helps." The officer raised an eyebrow. "Most people cry. You're different." Jada looked at her and softly replied, "You'd be surprised what I've seen." The officer stared for a second, then left without another word. Later that morning, Jada was brought into an interrogation room. 3 officers stood on the other side of the table. Officer Klein slammed a folder down. "You've got 2 choices," he said. "Tell us where the drugs are, or stay locked up." "I don't sell drugs," Jada said firmly. "You don't look like a teacher," Klein sneered. "You live alone. No job on file. What do you really do?" Jada stared back, eyes cold. "Not everything shows on paper," she said. The officers exchanged glances. They didn't like how calm she was. Most people broke under pressure, but not Jada. Meanwhile, in another room, Officer Reed sat alone, looking at his laptop. Something was bothering him. He pulled up her records. No criminal history, no drug charges, not even a parking ticket. Then he opened her photo ID again. Something about her face. It felt familiar. He typed her name into a military database. After a few seconds, the screen loaded. And then he saw it. U.S. Navy Special Operations. Rank, Chief Petty Officer. Unit, SEAL Team 6. His eyes widened. His hands trembled. "Oh no," he whispered. "They messed with the wrong person." The police station was quiet that morning, but inside the interrogation room, tension was high. Jada sat across from Officer Klein, her hands resting on the table. Calm, steady, watching. Klein leaned forward, frustration growing. Tell us the truth. Why did we find your name in a drug dealer's contact list? Jada didn't blink. Because someone put it there. Klein slammed his fist on the table. Stop playing games. But Jada didn't move. Her calm face only made him angrier. In the hallway outside, Officer Reed watched through the glass. His mind was racing. He had seen the file last night. Jada Williams, former Navy SEAL, decorated with honors. She wasn't a criminal. She was a hero. And now she was sitting in a cold chair, being treated like a street thug. Reed stepped away, his heart heavy. Inside the break room, he found Officer Daniels sipping coffee. Why her? Reed asked. Daniels didn't look up. What do you mean? She's clean. No record. Nothing. Even her file says she served in the military. Daniels laughed. So, that just makes her dangerous. Reed frowned. You mean, to us? Daniels leaned closer, speaking low. You think this world cares about medals? She fits the profile. Wrong part of town. No family. She's easy to blame. But she didn't do anything, Reed said. Daniels sipped his coffee again. Doesn't matter. We need a case. And she's the case. Reed felt sick. Back in the evidence room, Officer Klein met with a tech guy named Marcus. I need you to clean the body cam footage, Klein whispered. Marcus looked nervous. That's illegal. Klein narrowed his eyes. Do you want your past DUI charge to come back up? Marcus swallowed hard. What do you want removed? Klein pulled out a USB stick. Everything from the apartment. Make it look like she attacked us. She'll go down easier if she looks violent. Marcus took the drive. This is dangerous. Klein smiled. So is keeping secrets. In her holding cell, Jada stared at the ceiling. She wasn't worried about herself. She had survived war zones, bomb threats, and underwater missions. But this was different. This was a battle she hadn't expected to fight in her own country. A battle where the enemy wore badges and smiled while lying. She remembered something her Navy instructor once told her. You don't always fight with fists. Sometimes, silence is your sharpest weapon. So she stayed quiet. She waited. She planned. Later that afternoon, Officer Reed returned to her cell. He hesitated, then stepped closer. Why haven't you told them who you are? Jada looked at him with steady eyes. They didn't ask. Reed nodded slowly. I know what they're doing. I saw the footage before it was deleted. You didn't do anything wrong. She didn't speak. Reed looked around, then whispered, Why are you not defending yourself? Jada finally answered, her voice low and firm. Because the system is broken, and I want them to show the world just how broken it is. Reed stepped back, surprised. You're letting them hang themselves, he said. She nodded once. Meanwhile, Officer Daniels called someone on a burner phone. She's locked up. The fake report's almost done. We'll have her tied to the warehouse raid by tomorrow. A voice on the other end replied, Good. We can't afford her digging into anything. Not with her background. Daniels smiled. She'll be forgotten by next week. But what he didn't know was that someone had just forwarded Jada's military file to a local journalist. A journalist who didn't like dirty cops. That night, Officer Reed sat in his car, hands shaking. He looked at his phone again. The file was still there, proof that Jada wasn't just innocent. She was one of America's most trained warriors. He looked at her picture. Then he whispered, I'm sorry, and hit send. The police station was quieter than usual the next morning. But inside the interrogation room, the storm was just beginning. Jada sat alone, her hands still cuffed, her eyes calm. She looked at the mirror across the room. She knew someone was watching. Behind the mirror, Officers Klein and Daniels stood with angry faces. She's hiding something, Daniels growled. Klein nodded. She's too calm. No fear, no panic. That's not normal. I've seen people break in 5 minutes, Daniels said. She's been here 2 days and hasn't even raised her voice. Klein lit a cigarette and stared. I don't like it. We need to dig deeper. In another room, Officer Reed sat at his desk, reading news on his phone. Breaking. Former Navy SEAL possibly targeted by dirty cops. His heart pounded. He had sent the file to the reporter last night, and now the world was starting to know the truth. He looked over his shoulder nervously. Would they find out it was him? Meanwhile, Jada's mind was far from the police station. She was remembering something else. Something deeper. Something darker. Flashback. 5 years ago, somewhere in Afghanistan. Boom! An explosion shook the ground. Jada, dressed in desert camo, led a small team of Navy SEALs through smoke and gunfire. Move! Left side! Take cover! She shouted. She wasn't just a soldier, she was the leader, the best in her unit, smart, fast, and fearless. She carried a wounded teammate on her back while firing with one hand. Blood on her arms, sand in her face, but her eyes never blinked. Later that night, the commander praised her. "You saved 5 lives today," he told her. But Jada only nodded. "Just doing my job, sir." Back to present. In the police station, Jada blinked slowly, pulling herself out of memory. The door opened. Officer Klein walked in, his face cold. "Let's try this again," he said. He threw a photo on the table. It showed a man in handcuffs, someone Jada had never seen. "Recognize him?" Klein asked. "No," Jada answered. "He called your number last week." Jada raised an eyebrow. "So, he's a dealer." Jada leaned forward slightly. "And what if I say someone used my number? Spoofing happens every day." Klein's jaw tightened. He didn't expect that answer. She added, "Or maybe someone just wants me out of the way." Klein's face turned red. "Why would anyone target you?" Jada gave a cold smile. "Maybe you should ask yourself that." In the hallway, Officer Reed watched everything from a small monitor. He saw how Jada spoke. Calm, sharp, in control. She wasn't scared of them. She was studying them. He whispered to himself, "They really don't know who she is." Later that day, Daniels entered the evidence room and found Marcus, the tech guy, sweating. "You fixed the footage?" Daniels asked. Marcus nodded. "I deleted the real body cam clips and replaced them." "You better be sure," Daniels said. But Marcus looked nervous. "There's a problem. Someone leaked her military file." Daniels' eyes widened. "What?" "It's all over the news. Her name, her medals, her SEAL record." Daniels cursed under his breath. Then he ran straight to Klein. "They know," he whispered. "The media knows who she is." Klein slammed his fist against the wall. "We need to shut this down now." Meanwhile, Jada sat back in her cell. The guards looked at her differently now. Whispers followed her in the hallway. Some called her ma'am. Others avoided eye contact. The silence had shifted. Fear was beginning to move through the station, but it wasn't her fear. It was theirs. The police station didn't feel the same anymore. It used to be full of confidence. Officers laughing, joking, walking with power. But now, the hallways were quiet. The air was heavy. Everyone had seen the news. Wrongfully arrested, hero Navy SEAL held without charges. Decorated black woman SEAL targeted by corrupt cops. Jada's photo was everywhere, on phones, TVs, and news articles. Even the mayor had called. Now the officers weren't just scared of her, they were scared of losing everything. Officer Reed stood in the break room, staring at his phone. He had done the right thing. He had sent the file. But now he was being watched. Daniels had followed him twice that morning. Klein had stopped speaking to him. The pressure was building. He looked down at his cup of coffee. His hands were shaking. He knew it wouldn't be long before they turned on him too. In the cell, Jada sat quietly, her eyes closed. But she wasn't resting. She was thinking, remembering. Flashback, SEAL base, 3 years ago. Williams, the commander called. Jada stood tall. "Sir, you're being recommended for a medal. That hostage rescue mission. Outstanding work." Jada gave a short nod. "Just part of the job, sir." The commander smiled. "Most people break under pressure. You don't." "I wait," she replied. and strike when the time is right. Back to present. Jada opened her eyes. The time was getting close. She knew the system was shaking now. She just had to keep watching. In his office, Officer Klein was sweating. He paced the floor, reading an email from the chief of police. Explain the situation immediately. Why is a Navy SEAL locked in your station without charges? Daniels entered, nervous. What do we do? Klein slammed his laptop shut. We delete everything. Reports, videos, clean it all. But it's too late, Daniels said. People are already protesting outside. Klein paused. Protests? He looked out the window. A crowd was forming outside the building. People were holding signs. Justice for Jada. Free our hero. Stop dirty cops. Klein stepped back. This is getting out of control. In the hallway, Officer Reed made a decision. He couldn't stay quiet anymore. He walked straight to Jada's cell. She looked up as he arrived. You're going to be released soon, he said. They're panicking. Jada didn't smile. She only nodded. But there's more, he added. They tried to destroy your file. They planted false evidence. They used your name in drug reports. Jada's eyes narrowed. I figured, she said. Reed looked down. I'm sorry. I should have spoken up sooner. You're speaking now, Jada replied. That means you still have a soul. He looked at her, guilt in his eyes. I want to help, he said. What do you need? Jada leaned forward. The names. Who's behind this? And the original body cam footage. Reed hesitated. It's been deleted. No, she said calmly. Nothing is ever truly deleted. In the evidence room, Marcus the tech guy sat at his computer, nervous. Suddenly, Officer Reed walked in. Marcus stood up quickly. I didn't know what to do. Klein forced me. I know, Reed interrupted. But now we make it right. He handed Marcus a USB drive. Recover everything you can, every second of the body cam footage. If we have proof, we can stop this. Marcus nodded slowly. I'll try. That night, Officer Klein held a secret meeting with Daniels and 2 other officers. We bury this. Tonight, we send her to county jail and say she resisted arrest. But she didn't, one officer whispered. Klein glared. Do you want to lose your job? Your pension? They nodded silently. Klein smirked. Good, because tomorrow, she disappears. But what he didn't know was that Officer Reed was already uploading the real footage to the cloud. And outside, more people were arriving with signs, cameras, and demands. The cracks in the police force were growing wider, and Jada Williams wasn't done yet. The police station was no longer safe for secrets. Outside, the crowd had doubled. Reporters, protesters, and even veterans stood shoulder to shoulder, holding signs. We stand with Jada. Truth can't be silenced. SEALs don't lie. Cops do. Inside, Officer Reed walked fast down the hallway, holding a small USB drive tightly in his hand. His heart was pounding. The footage was recovered. The truth was finally ready to come out. In a private room, Jada sat with calm eyes. She wasn't afraid. She was waiting. Officer Reed entered quietly and closed the door behind him. I got it, he whispered. Jada looked up. All of it? Reed nodded. Every second. You didn't touch anyone. They kicked the door in. You were just sitting at the table. You said nothing wrong. He placed the USB on the table. I'm sending it to every news channel right now. Jada nodded slowly. It's time. In the evidence room, Marcus the tech guy watched the footage one last time before uploading it online. His hands shook as he hit send. In just seconds, it was everywhere. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, news apps. The truth was no longer hidden. In Officer Klein's office, his phone rang again and again. He looked at the screen. Unknown CALE. City Police Chief. His hands were sweating. Suddenly, Officer Daniels burst in. It's out, he shouted. The footage. It's all over the internet. Klein froze. What do we do? Daniels asked, panicking. Klein walked to the window. Outside, The protesters were chanting Jada's name. "We get out," he said. "We pack our stuff and leave." Daniels shook his head. "It's too late. They're coming." That same hour, a news reporter stood outside the police station, microphone in hand. "We now have full proof that Jada Williams, a Navy SEAL veteran, was wrongly arrested. The body cam footage shows her calm and innocent during the entire police raid. Officers involved may face charges." A cheer rose from the crowd behind her. Inside the building, the station shook, not from an earthquake, but from fear. Fear of justice. Later, the mayor arrived. With news cameras following, she walked straight into the building, past the crowd, and into the holding area. Jada stood as the mayor entered. "Miss Williams," the mayor said, "you're free to go." Jada didn't smile. She simply nodded. "And those who did this to you," the mayor added, "will answer to the law." As Jada walked out of the police station, the crowd went silent for a moment, then erupted in applause. Phones were filming. Reporters shouted questions. But Jada said nothing. She raised her hand once to the crowd, a quiet salute. Not for herself, but for every innocent voice that had ever been silenced. Back inside, Officer Klein was being placed in handcuffs. "You have the right to remain silent," the internal affairs agent said. Daniels followed next, crying, begging for a lawyer. The walls that once protected them had collapsed. Now they were just men in suits, afraid, exposed, and powerless. Officer Reed watched it all from a distance. He didn't smile. He didn't cheer. He just turned away and walked outside. There, Jada was waiting. "You did the right thing," she said softly. Reed nodded. "Too late." "Not for me," Jada replied, "and not for the next person." 3 days had passed since Jada walked free. But her name was still on everyone's lips. News channels were showing her story day and night. Social media was full of her photos and videos. Veterans, activists, and ordinary people all stood with her. The world had seen the truth. But now, they wanted to hear her voice. In a large hall in Washington, D.C., a special event was held. It was organized by military leaders, civil rights groups, and news reporters. The hall was full. Cameras pointed to the stage. At the center, Jada Williams stood, calm, tall, proud. She wore her Navy SEAL medals on her chest, the same ones the world almost forgot. As she stepped forward to the microphone, the room fell silent. She began to speak, slowly, simply. 3 weeks ago, I was arrested in my own home. I wasn't charged. I wasn't treated with respect. I was treated like a criminal because of how I look, because I'm black, because I'm a woman, because they thought I was weak. Her voice was steady. Her eyes were clear. But I am not weak. I have served this country. I have worn the uniform. I have saved lives on the battlefield. And when I came home, I was attacked by the very people who swore to protect me. She paused, letting the words settle. But this is not just my story. There are thousands of innocent people who don't wear medals. People who don't have cameras watching them. People who suffer in silence. To them, I say, don't stay silent. Don't give up. You are not alone. A tear rolled down someone's cheek in the audience. Jada continued. To those officers who broke the law, justice is coming. And to the officers who still believe in honor and truth, we need you. Step forward. Speak out. The crowd stood and clapped loudly. But Jada wasn't finished. They tried to take my name. They tried to bury my past. But today, I take it back. My name is Jada Williams. I am a Navy SEAL. I am a daughter. I am a fighter. And I will never be silent again. The room exploded in applause. People stood, crying, cheering, holding signs that said, JDA equals USIC. We see you. We believe you. Jada walked off the stage without looking back. She didn't need to. Her voice had done what bullets never could. Back in her hometown, a mural was painted on the side of a building. It showed Jada in her Navy SEAL uniform, standing strong, with the American flag behind her. Below it, in bold letters, honor, courage, JDA. Officer Reed watched the speech on TV. He smiled for the first time in days. His face was tired, but his soul felt lighter. He had done the right thing. And now, the world had changed because of it. 1 month had passed since the world heard Jada Williams speak. But her voice was still echoing in every corner of the country. People didn't forget her. They followed her. They listened. They shared her story. But Jada didn't want fame. She wanted change. In a small building in her city, something new was beginning. A sign was placed above the door. The Williams Project, Justice, Healing, Truth. Inside, Jada sat with a small group of people, young and old, black and white, men and women. Some were crying. Some were silent. All were broken in some way. And Jada was there for them. A young woman named Keisha spoke first. They locked my brother up for something he didn't do. He was only 16. No lawyer, no help. We're just poor. Nobody listens to us. Jada looked into her eyes. I'm listening, she said softly. Another man raised his hand. I was beaten during a traffic stop. I was scared to speak up. But when I saw your story, I knew I had to. Jada nodded. You're not alone anymore. Word spread fast. The Williams Project started receiving hundreds of letters and emails. Veterans who were mistreated. Families of innocent prisoners. Police officers who wanted to speak the truth. Everyone wanted to be heard. Jada and her small team worked day and night, not with weapons, but with words. They made calls, filed legal papers, stood beside families in courtrooms. One case at a time. Back at the police station where it all began, new leadership had taken over. The corrupt officers were now under investigation or already behind bars. Officer Reed, now promoted to Captain Reed, stood proudly at a press conference. We must return to honor, he said. We must remember what our badge means, and we must never forget what happened to Jada Williams. The crowd clapped, some cried. One evening, Jada walked alone to the same street where she had once been taken in handcuffs. She looked around. This time, no officers followed her. No one yelled. No one judged. Only peace. She took a deep breath, then pulled out her phone. A message had arrived. We have a young man who needs help. False charges. Police lied. Family is scared. Can you come? Jada smiled gently. I'm on my way. As she walked down the street, the camera slowly pulled back. We saw a strong woman in simple clothes. No longer a prisoner. No longer a victim. Now a protector of truth. A warrior for the silent. A voice for the innocent. Jada Williams had a new mission now. And she wasn't walking alone.